so much.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to meet you. 10 short stories.
I mean, every single one of these merits a conversation. Says, what friendships have stood the test of time in my life and how do I nurture them? You see, I really believe in cultivating relationships. Once I'm in, that's it.
I mean, yeah.
Or they're in. I really develop them.
Why do I love the way that I do? Why do I love some other song, hold on to some, and find it easy to let go of some others? Like, what is it that makes me react to friendships and love, I suppose? Hello, Sally Chibuzie here, the owner and founder of the brand Unshakable. You know the motto, Unshakable is a state of mind. Take your state of mind with you everywhere you go. Be unshakable, be in truth with yourself, love yourself. Thank you for joining us for another podcast episode. It's really impromptu. I don't know how it's going to go. In fact, this is born out of the fact that I've come to visit Mirella because tonight was the EastEnders Live. And
40th
anniversary of EastEnders. So we're Team EastEnders here.
There must be a reason why someone like you and me watch it, right? Oh, yeah. We're both really deep women, right?
I think it's in depth. I think it's the fact that it's very much fiction, but fiction mirrors real life.
But also the writers, they do a lot of research to a storyline, they, especially when they cover mental health.
Yes. And they've had quite a few of those recently. Did you see Phil yesterday?
Oh my gosh.
It was absolutely phenomenal. It was amazing.
And can I just say, as someone that has been there, I mean, not personally, but I've been through that with a very close member of my family that had a breakdown. The way he portrayed it and the way the mental health crisis team arrived, and the way that the people around him talked to him and dissected what was going on, and I have to say it was very accurate.
So that's research.
Yes, huge research.
By the time you're watching this might be out on Amazon. The Love That Lasts by Sally Chibuzie. I wonder who that is. So I've come to Mirella because I think she's the right person to have the very, very first conversation about this book with.
Okay.
Yes, because Mirella is an art psychotherapist, and she's very insightful with these kind of big emotions, because love is the hugest emotion I think there is out there, but self-love is underestimated. And I know that Mirella is the best person for it. So
I wouldn't say the best, but let's just say we're going to have a chat.
I know.
Oh, bless you.
So there are a couple of things that I wanted to dissect with you. The first one is the notion that self-love practitioners are perfect. They're walking and swanning around the place, should I say, like cats walking through life.
Right.
And everything is all rosy. But in reality, and what people don't understand is that there is no such thing as perfect. Nobody is perfect. And therefore, even people who accept and they embody self-love, A, can get it wrong sometimes, B, don't even know what they're doing sometimes, 3, they're also struggling sometimes. So we're all basically...
But I suppose my first question would be, how do you know that someone's a self-love practitioner?
I guess I'm talking, if we go to Dr. Facebook and Instagram, where you see all these things. So social media, where you see someone who's, just because they're putting it out there to say, this is my self-love stroke self-care routine. This is, what I do. This is how much I love myself. And, they put forward all these notions, all these tips and guides and, must-dos. For self-love, if you love yourself, you must do this and I must do that. And, this is my self-love is about these boundaries and And they sound all put together and so sure of themselves. I think they're not. I think it's perfectly normal to not be sure.
Well, interestingly, I think, because I'm just thinking about some of the people you're describing, and I'm just thinking that we know very well that on social media, we're going to see a lot of people portraying a fake self.
Yeah, true.
And there's all sorts of reasons that people do that. I upload things on Instagram and Facebook, and I tend to upload things that are positive and times that I've enjoyed, and I have a very limited amount of followers, because I only want to share with people that I feel I can trust and that I care about and that I want to remain in contact with. So it's almost like a visual diary, so that people have a window into my life that live abroad, because I've got family scattered all around the world, and it just gives them a little insight into what I've been up to. But I am very honest, so there have been times where things are very hard, and I've also shared, the difficulties. However, I would never purport to be an influencer in it. But there are people I know that are, like friends of mine that upload a lot of content, and they'll say things like, they'll talk about their skincare routine, they'll talk about their hair, they'll talk about their which classes they've attended that week, for example, yoga or Pilates or whatever. They will talk about their wardrobe and the deals that they've come across, and then they will tag the places that they've bought the products from. And sometimes the companies will get in touch with them and say, thank you for promoting our brand, we'd love to send you. So it's kind of like, I'm doing this because it makes me feel accountable, that I need to look after myself because I've got people that are following me. B, I'm going to get freebies out of it. C, I feel liked, I feel adored, and I think we're in a time now where, unfortunately, people feel like receiving that adulation online helps them feel maybe more validated. But the sad thing is that as a therapist, I hear all sorts of things in the consulting room, and it's usually those people that are the loneliest. Because actually, think about the people Sally, the ones that really practice self-love. They're not even on social media.
No.
I'm just thinking about someone I know who lives locally. She's not on social media. She's the kind of person that gets up, she'll go for a walk every morning so that she can be in nature. The minute there's a bit of sun, she goes out there. She always looks well. She doesn't wear any makeup. When I say she always looks well, when I don't see her always, but every time I see her, I think,
you look nice, you look good.
Not that she looks good, but she just looks healthy.
Yeah.
When we meet, she'll always choose the healthy choice. I'm not saying she doesn't occasionally have sugar, and she's not particularly like the slimmest person. She's got some weight on her, but she looks well with it. But she's not on social media. And she really looks after herself, and whenever I'm with her, I feel really, she just kind of exudes wellness. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a person to me that is an example of self-love.
Yeah.
And it took her a long time to get to that place.
That's what I was going to say. I think for some people who've got to the stage you describe, it's taken years and so many experiences to get to that point. Not everyone wakes up and they're just like madly in love with themselves. It's a process. It's a very difficult journey as well. So even I look sometimes on social media and I'm thinking, because I've just done this, and I have Unshakable, the brand, and I sometimes feel vulnerable. I feel exposed, as a result of being on social media. But this is the way to get the message across. You kind of have to use social media, but you have to be sensible about it, because you can get sucked in to the negative aspects of it. So, for example, where your engagement is lower than normal, you're feeling like, oh gosh, what am I doing? Or nobody likes me, or nobody wants to listen to what I have to say. Whereas, that might not necessarily be the case. It might just be that people are watching silently. Not everyone makes a...
Yeah, but the reality is that there are people that will... Look, everyone's a critic. We're talking about self-love, but on the other side, there's the self-critic, right?
Yes.
So we're all critical of ourselves.
Yes.
The inner critic, the imposter syndrome. I mean, I saw this film recently, Better Man, with Robbie Williams, sorry. It's phenomenal. Okay, whether you like Robbie Williams or not, it is a phenomenal film. It's about not feeling that he's enough.
Yeah.
And the life that he led, which led to addiction, which led to all sorts of stuff, thoughts of suicide. I mean, it's a fantastic film. It's not just about Robbie Williams' life. It's a film about
docu-series type thing.
No, it's a film in the cinema. It's where he's portrayed as a monkey.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that as well. It all makes sense. It's a brave film.
I have to watch it.
It's a really brave film, but it's about that inner critic. It's about that imposter syndrome, that feeling of, am I somebody? I want to be somebody. That's what the film's about. I don't want to be a nobody. And that's the thing is nowadays, everybody, not everyone, but most people, they want to be remembered. They want to be noticed. They want to be somebody. They want to be liked. They want the followers. But why? Why do we want that?
Why do we crave that attention?
But why? You don't need to be famous to help people. Right? Do you know I mean, I don't talk about this. I don't have a website. I don't have a business card. But do you know, the amount of young people I've helped in my life that people don't even know about. Children's lives, I've just from being intuitive, I've clocked something's not right. I've worked with gangs. I've worked with some of the most deprived young people. Do you know how many children nowadays, we live in London, it's 2025, do you know how many children are their parents have to go to food banks? They've got no food in the house. It's a bit like when people online talk about their relationships, with their partners, and they show that they've been to Venice for a romantic weekend, or Paris, or look at these flowers my partner bought me, or look at this romantic letter. And then you meet these people in real life.
They hate each other.
It's not that extreme, but their relationship, first of all, why do you need people to see that your relationship is like that?
In your private
right, why do you want people to see that? Like, what are you trying to prove? Who are you proving it to, and why? What for? Do you need people to know if your husband has bought you some flowers? Like, what's the reason behind? Think about that. Like, why do people need to know if your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever has bought you flowers? Okay, you could argue, but they're beautiful. I wanted to show the beauty. Okay, that's fair enough. It's like recently someone bought me a ring. A ceramic ring, and it was so beautiful. I wanted to share it on Facebook. I just wanted to almost because it was a piece of art. And then I thought, should I share this or not? Did
you?
I don't think I did. No, I didn't actually, but I really wanted to. But I started asking myself, why? Why do I want to share this? Who am I sharing it for? And and in the end, what I did, I took a picture of my ring and I sent it to my close friends on WhatsApp. And I said, you've got to see this ring. Isn't it beautiful? So
I want to see the ring.
I'll show you a picture. And it's just, so I suppose there's always the why. And the thing about self-love as well is that if we truly love ourselves, it will be obvious. It will be obvious to the outside world. We don't need to say, look at me, I love myself. Look, because we don't need people to hear us saying it. It will speak for itself. From the way that people carry themselves, from the way that people move and speak, and the life they lead.
So, Mirella, obviously you haven't had much time. This book isn't even out yet. So
okay.
You are my chosen privilege for you to see it, and I think people will get to see why in a minute. So, is there anything in the book so far that has stood out?
There's a lot in here that,
it's very heavy, right? Kind of.
I wouldn't say it's heavy, but there's a lot to unpack and talk about, like this certain and I love that there's bits that are bolded, so they stand out because of the field that I'm in. Some of these expressions and some of these words are expressions that I've heard for many decades, but I think there'll be people that may read this that may never have come across some of these expressions before, like this one, hurt people. I remember the very first time I heard that, I thought, hurt people. And I thought, is that true? Is that true? Because actually, I've been hurt in my life so many times, and yet I know how it feels, and so I don't want to hurt other people. So that's not always true. But it depends if you've done the work. If you've worked on yourself, then you don't hurt people.
Yeah, see, at the end it says, if hurt people,
then heal people, heal others. And that's what us therapists are. They say we're wounded healers.
Yes.
Because we know what it feels like. That's the first thing. This goes back to self-love, doesn't it? Because sometimes you want to be an individual and you don't want to be a sheep like everyone else, and you want to follow your own path. But that comes at a cost.
Yes. Yeah.
It comes at a cost, because you know you might put yourself out there and people might laugh at you and people might ridicule you, and because you're othering yourself. You're the other.
Yeah, you're the other. And it's all good and well saying you shouldn't care about those things. And, you know, to an extent, you shouldn't. But it is the hardest thing to do, to walk your own truth.
You have to be robust enough.
Yes.
Look at that 15-year-old girl. She's ginger.
Yes.
We were speaking to a 15-year-old girl like a few minutes ago. She's dyed her hair black because she said, what did she say? Oh, you know what people are like at school.
Yes, yes.
Now, wearing 25.
Not just
that's how the conversation started, because her eyebrows were thickly black. This is, honestly, I wish you could see it. Isn't she beautiful?
Beautiful.
I mean, and when she showed us photos of her hair.
Her real hair.
Oh my goodness, people pay good money to have that hair. That was my dream, to have that lovely red hair. For me is just a gift.
Yeah.
Honestly. And she dyes it. Why?
Yeah.
Because she feels that it's not enough.
Mm.
She feels that she's different and that she stands out. And you need to get to a point in your life where you think, you know what, I am different, but I'm okay with it. Mm. And it took me, I've just turned 50 recently, and I can honestly say, I think things changed for me when I was about 48, something like that, when I started thinking, you know what, the reality is I'm never going to be slim. I'm never going to be tall. I'm just, life is so short. I've lost so many people in my life, young. We were talking about the people you've lost that you mention in this book. Your dear friends, Kelly and Choo Choo, may they rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Young people, and then you think, well, it's a privilege to be alive. And if my body isn't the shape that I would have loved it to be, then I'm just going to accept. It's not
the be all and end all, right? There are more important things in life.
You have to accept, and also actually understanding your body. So I grew up always heavier than everyone else, and it was only during lockdown that I started doing my research, that I discovered that I actually have a condition called lipedema, and not a lot of people know about it, and it happens to women. And I'm not going to make this about lipedema, but if you are listening to this, look it up, because there's not enough knowledge about lipedema. It's basically a fat disorder.
Okay.
It's the way that fat is stored in your body, and there's nothing you can do about it. All the dieting, all the exercise. I mean, once I lost 7 stone, and I still had these pockets of fat that just don't shift, and the only thing you can do is have liposuction. And it causes depression, because
this is what society. I wonder if the reverse were the case. It would be interesting if the world conditioned us to see people who are bigger as the more attractive. Do you see what I mean?
I think things have changed, though.
It's possible.
I think things have changed. I mean, we've got people. The first person that comes to mind is Lizzo, for example. Mm-hmm. You have a lot more celebrities now that are a bit more comfortable. However, having said that, just when I thought we were embracing curves and there was the whole movement, now we have Ozempic.
Yes.
And now everyone is
jumping on that and trying to
injecting themselves and taking this medication. I mean, I've just got back from a girls' trip, and I was the biggest one there in the group. And we got talking about, we were at lunch, and there was all the women I was with were like at least 5'10". I'm 5 foot. They were all slim. I mean, you've seen the photos, right? They're slim women.
Beautiful photos.
Beautiful women, slim. Okay. And we're at lunch, and they're saying, "Oh God, I feel so fat. Oh gosh, look at me. I'm and I'm sitting there with them, and I'm thinking, do I say something? Now, the old me, 20 years ago, I would have got up and ran into the toilet and started crying. I genuinely would. I mean, I've done that so many times, where I've been in the context where people are talking about being fat, and I look at them and think,
Are you mad?
Are you insane that you think... And I've literally got up and gone to the toilet and started crying and thought, oh my God, if they think they're fat, what must they think of me? But it's got to the point now where I'm 50 and I've just embraced the fact that I'm alive. And actually I'm quite fit.
You are, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I exercise.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
very
active.
energetic.
Yes.
I love dancing. I feel well, you know, and I mean, I am trying to do something about my weight. You know, I'm trying to... But
I think some of us are going to spend our entire lives doing something about our weight generally. You know, but plus, I don't think anyone would ever be satisfied.
Genetically as well.
Yes,
you have to think about genetics.
From that. Yeah, plus the perimenopause, stroke menopause. So those things can hit very hard. So it's even harder when you're middle-aged. You know, I suppose it might have been 20 years ago, it might be easy to lose a couple of stone. You know,
yeah, it's much harder as we get older.
Exactly. You were going to read out another line.
No, there was something else that really stood out, which is the bit where it says, but if we are running on empty, we cannot pour into others. I think that line, oh my goodness, it took me a lot to get to that point. That says to me, it's about knowing the difference between saying yes and saying no.
Yes.
You know, when people...
Your boundaries.
It's all about boundaries. And it's all about, you know, I just got back from abroad and there was a woman next to me with the baby, and the air steward gave her the seatbelt for the baby, puts the seatbelt on and everything, and then said to her, in a case of emergency, don't forget to put your mask on before you put it on the baby. And I thought, that's it. That's life. We've got to put that face mask on ourselves before we can put it on others.
Mask, yeah.
You know, and I also remember there was this saying, I think, I don't know from what culture it is, but it was my Jewish friend who told me this. And I think it might be from a Jewish proverb, but forgive me if I'm wrong. It says something like there was a mother and she had one egg, but 5 children, and all the children were crying because they were hungry. And so the mother, she ate the egg. And the reason she ate the egg is because she has to look after those 5 children, right?
So she needs this.
So, you know, that's it. They have one egg between the 6 of them. Who's she going to give it to out of the 5? She can't choose between her children.
Nor can she split it into 6 parts.
So she'll have the egg so that she can look after her kids. That's what I think, ultimately, self-love. Because, you know, people might argue, oh, that was very selfish of the mum. No, she's not being selfish. She's thinking about the greater good. That is, for me, what self-love is about. It's about looking after oneself so that they can look after the world around us, which ultimately means our close friends, our family. Well, our family, if we're mothers, we have to look after our kids,
of
right?
Course.
They're number one. The others follow.
Yeah.
Kids, family, friends, you know, people we work with. Depends what industry you're in. If you're in the caring profession like me, if I don't look after myself, how can I possibly look after the people I care for?
To give.
How can I? You know, after I lost my mum last year very tragically, I stopped working. And a lot of people were saying to me, you should go to work, it'd be really good for you, because it would distract you. And I said, that would be really irresponsible of me, because I'm not somebody who works in an industry where I can be distracted. I work in the caring profession. I work with very vulnerable people. I work with people that are, you know, in need of someone that's robust and strong. I can't turn up there if I'm fragile myself.
Your cup has got to be, he's got to have
absolutely. You know, it says here, we are running on empty, we cannot pour into others. That's exactly right. You know, you were saying earlier that there's this notion that people that self-love have it all sorted. Right. Do you know that's true for therapists as well? So people often think
you're supposed to be perfect.
When you're a therapist, you've sorted it all out.
Yeah, because you think I might have fallen into that category before I really understood that people are just people and human beings. So you're a therapist, but I know Mirella, who's not just a therapist, who's the woman, who's the mum, who's the lover, who's the friend, who's, you know, the fun person, and this person who speaks 5 languages and has an accent for every single one of them. It's just, I find that just so amazing. Tell us about dinner. What was it you made me?
Well, I made a tortilla española.
Say that again.
Tortilla española, which I learned when I used to live in Barcelona. Barcelona.
I love it.
And then I also made some chicken, but that wasn't Italian.
No,
it was
very herby,
but it was very picante.
Picante.
Yeah. And I made some piselli, piselli is peas, which you said you don't like peas, but I knew when you tasted mine you would.
This is really yummy, actually.
I made them. I knew you'd like them because I've had other people that have come over for dinner and they've said, "Oh, I don't really do peas," and I said, "Can you just taste these?"
Yes, and I'm glad you asked me to.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I made the decision to. So, back to what I was saying, you are, Mirella, the imperfect perfect, if that makes sense. So you're just you. Say so is everyone else.
So is everyone.
And a mom, even a mom. Because there are times when, you know, I brought up my kids on my own, as you know. There were times where, you know, I used to just sit and I'd be so overwhelmed, and I'm thinking, my name is not Mom. My name is Mother, as they call me. My name is not Mother. My name is Sally Jubuzier. You know, because, gosh, you know, there's a lot of pressure to be put together, or more relevant, I would say, because you're the therapist. Of course, you're supposed to know everything. How are you going to therapy on people if you don't know it all? So you got the qualification, so you've done the degree, so you know what this is all about. So what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, well, one thing I learned when I was training to be a therapist is that if you think about it, when we're babies, so much of the way we communicate is non-verbal, right? So, and then the first marks we make, if you think of little babies when they start making marks, they can make it with their food, they can, you know, that's all communication. And in art psychotherapy, it's all about using images to communicate when words are difficult. So, and you don't need to be an artist, you know, you don't need to be good at art. People often say, "Oh, but I can't draw." Actually, if you can't draw, it's better, because that way you're more expressive. You know, you'll just use the art materials just to kind of...
You're not trying to do anything pretty. You're just...
It's not about doing pretty things. In fact, it's all about the process. It's all about trying to just explore what's going on in your inner world. And it's a very healing process. I mean, I don't want to make this podcast about art psychotherapy, but I'm really passionate about it. Seeing the benefits of how it changes one's feelings about themselves. And that also chimes in with self-love, because when you build a strong connection with someone, and so I work with people that come to me that are really broken, and they're at a really low ebb, or things have happened in their life that feel so difficult to overcome. And we will work together, and art is obviously there in the room, in that on my table I'll have loads of art materials. Sometimes some of the people I work with don't necessarily even want to make art. We just sit and chat like this. But I think at the end, what really heals people is people. You know, so people heal people, not medication, yes, the art making is part of the process but I've seen people grow and flourish, and just from one person believing in them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, ultimately, Sally, you know, in order for us to love ourselves, we need to know what love means. And if you've never been loved by anyone in your life, and no one's ever believed in you, or no one's ever, especially those key figures in our life, our parents, you know, especially for a woman, if her father's never told her she's beautiful.
She is.
Self-worth is very important. You know, the relationships we build in those early years after we're born, the connections we make, how we're seen, how we're heard, all of that helps to build that sense of self.